evening, race fans, and welcome. It's Monday night here on VirtualRacing.Network, and you know what that means. It's time for the NORA Truck Series. That's right, the finale for the regular season of the NORA Truck Series 2023, and that means they're going to be fighting hard to make it into those playoffs coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's Richmond Raceway, 3/4 of a mile around, 70 laps we'll be doing in the first stage, 140 laps in the second stage, and 250 overall. And we saw a lot of this fun flying excitement at Richmond Raceway last night. Christian Snyder, welcome back to the booth here at VirtualRacing.Network. What are we looking forward to tonight here at Richmond?
Well, we're going to see a lot of desperate folks out there. There's a lot of people that need this race to get into the playoffs, and there's some that don't necessarily need it, but need to point their way in to guarantee themselves a spot for the playoffs. This being the last race, there's a lot of people that are a little nervous out there tonight, so I think there's going to be some bumpers used to try to win this thing. It's pretty hot so far for practice, but I think once the sun goes down for the race, I think it'll be nice and cool, and the track will have a lot of grip, so it's going to be interesting to see. Shouldn't be too many loose incidents like we saw last night, so can't wait to see who points themselves in, who wins their way in, if anyone does. There's going to be a lot of crazy strategies to try to get out front and try to win this thing. You know, we've seen Todd Slauson do it before at Charlotte trying to win. You don't know what these guys are going to pull that need wins at the end of this race.
So much excitement as we reach the conclusion of the regular season. Of course, Brian Jones doing so much to stay in the lead, and perhaps he can win this regular season championship. It would mean a lot. Of course, we go past this into the playoffs, but that regular season always means a lot to take that crown, and he's only got a little handful of points over Josh Conover in that driver's points. So taking a look there, it's close enough, and so is Sean Briscoe. He's still in this fight, but if you would believe it or not, there is one heck of a battle going on just behind Sean Briscoe to see who can make it in on points. Tim Harper, Torrin Schertz, and Cody Reeder all fighting it out to see who's going to make it in, and just theoretically, any one of them could push one of the others out. So Cody Reeder could be in, and Torrin Schertz could be out, or Tim Harper could be out for that matter. But another interesting turn of events could happen if someone other than them were to take victory who hasn't already taken a victory this season. More than one of them would be pushed out. In fact, two of them would be pushed out. And Christian, wouldn't that be something to see a driver like Tim Harper, who's been up there in the top five so many times? He's got four top fives to his name. Torrin Schertz has 5 top fives to his name. To see them not end up in the playoffs at the end of this, even Cody Reeder with 6 top fives to his name, that would be something else.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are, top 10 in points. They would have made it in if there was no winners. But, it's crazy to see how many surprise winners we've had this season to shake things up. I'm surprised we haven't seen these guys win, even Sean Briscoe. I know he's locked in on points. There's no way he could get knocked out. He could run one lap and pull off, and he's still making the playoffs here tonight. He did enough in the point standings, but Tim Harper, we haven't seen him win. He won in the Cup Series, but not over here in the Truck Series yet. We've seen Cody Reeder be good multiple weeks, just not able to close the deal and get that win, which is shocking. Torrin Schertz and I believe there's one other guy that's battling for these points. I think Todd Slauson, my driver, he would be in if there weren't winners below him. So he's another guy that's been consistent all season. He's had chances to win. So interesting to see that these guys, they put all the effort in, but you still just can't get into the playoffs because wins are everything.
Certainly, and Cody Reeder, in that battle as well. It is something else to see the top 3 still up for grabs for this regular season championship, but also to see 3 drivers so skilled be right on the bubble. And again, if anybody who's still fighting for the points, if they should happen to take a win, perhaps one of the newcomers from FAFO Motorsports like Jordan Abeita or perhaps Ian Clark, one of these drivers could take a victory. Actually, I take it back. Ian Clark, because he is running for owner's points, that wouldn't work out. But Craig Schroeder for Capital Motor Club, should he take victory, he'd be able to be in the playoffs. A number of these drivers, Mark Bremkamp, another one, if he can get a win. And of course, over at that Full Send Motorsports camp, your team over there, Christian, you're looking at a couple of drivers that would love to get in there, including Brad Fulham, and I'm sure he would love to be in there, as well would Todd Slauson. So you got two teammates on your team fighting it out to see who's going to get in there for the playoffs here tonight. It's an exciting night. We'll walk out of here with a clear picture of who's going to be in the playoffs, but right now it's just a lot of questions.
Yeah, certainly a lot of questions, and some of these drivers not able to qualify tonight. They'll get a black flag here before the race starts, so they get a penalty to send them to the back of the field. Let me pull those names up for our viewers. Those names: Jacob Malone, Brad Fulham, Ian Clark, Kurt Quist, who is not here tonight, David McGuire, Cody Reeder, and Mark Bremkamp cannot qualify. They'll all have to start in the rear of the field. So Cody Reeder and Brad Fulham, 2 of the drivers in the field tonight. I think Jacob Malone also here. They're not allowed qualifying. Will start in the rear of the field tonight.
Well, that is obviously a big blow to those drivers, and Cody Reeder, he's been kind of snake bit here in the Truck Series and not been able to take victory yet. And as a result, he is not only on the outside looking in, but if he's going to do it, he's going to do it from the back of the pack here tonight. So exciting stuff here as we get set for the NORA Truck Series round number 16 at Richmond, the finale of the regular season. We're just wrapping up qualifying, and now it is time to talk tonight's starting grid for the season finale at Richmond. Starting on pole position will be Eric Sable. No surprise there for the JRC Sim team. Fantastic time of 22.0. Sean Briscoe. No surprise to anybody who's been watching VirtualRacing.Network and the NORA Truck Series. He's going to be starting alongside. On that second row, Brian Jones for Brian Powell Motorsports. Alongside him will be Tim Harper, the namesake of Harper Motorsports. Remember, Harper needs to get as many points as he can tonight. If he wrecks, he's very likely out of the playoffs. Everett Couts going to be starting in 5th place. Alongside him, Blade Timmons. And on that 4th row, Josh Conover next to Craig Schroeder. Starting in 9th will be Christopher Heights alongside Jordan Abeita. And Abeita is the top driver from that FAFO Motorsports team. Starting in 11th will be Torrin Schertz. Of course, he is racing to get into those playoffs. He's secure right now, but Cody Reeder or someone else could bump him out. Todd Slauson from Full Send Motorsports, he's going to be looking for that win as well. Looking at the next group of drivers, Christian, who's starting in 13th?
Well, we got Cody Height in 13th and Jacob Gladelich to his outside. And then Cody Reeder, not being able to qualify, will start 15th. Jacob Malone 16th. Ian Clark behind him in 17th. Mark Bremkamp 18th. Brad Fulham and Nick Geilis on row 10 in 19th and 20th. And then Martin Plute and Mark Morton 21st and 22nd tonight. Also to note, Everett Couts, forget how to pronounce it. He got an EOL penalty for a penalty from Mid-Ohio, so he is starting at the tail end of the field as well.
So he elected to qualify, but he will have to take that EOL. is why he showed in those results and on the grid. But a number of these drivers going to have to work their way forward. It's going to be a difficult one, but Christian, what's the strategy from Richmond here tonight? If you're one of these drivers who is maybe looking to get in on points, is maybe trying to get their win, what do you got to do to win here at Richmond?
You got me. I don't know. I've never been able to pull off a win here at Richmond. It's one of the tracks I've wanted to, but I don't know the exact strategy on how to get the job done here. I mean, you're going to see a lot of differing ones. You're going to see people pit close to the end of stage 2 so that they can start out front for the final stage. You're going to see some people saving tires. So I heard some people aren't going to pit at all in stage 1 for tires. So it's 70 laps on tires, but in order to get that extra set of tires for that last stage, you got to do it.
Well, all kinds of strategies to pull off. Last night in the Icon Series, we saw quite a few of those strategies come out. Of course, the predominant strategy was track position, and we're going to have to see if that is indeed the factor that wins the race here tonight. But Eric Sable, he's already punched his ticket into the playoffs. He's going to lead us down to the green flag for our very first lap here. He steps on that loud pedal, and we are going here at Richmond.
Yeah, Sable with a nice lead right now, and then you got Brian Jones and Sean Briscoe side by side, second and third there. Conover going to clear for fourth, and then behind him, Blade Timmons in the 1 is your top 5 currently.
One heck of a side-by-side battle already between two of the top 3 contenders in the championship, Jones and Briscoe. We're hoping to see a lot of this battling not only through tonight, but over the course of this playoffs. And they're already going tooth and nail here on lap number 2. Briscoe taking that lead, though, up into second. Jones slots into third. Now the race is on just behind. It's Conover, who's marched forward 3 positions so far on the start. Blade Timmons files in behind him into 5th. Harper, he's the one who needs to ensure that he gets the most amount of points tonight so he doesn't get bounced out. But Craig Schroeder must have heard us talking about him in the pre-race show, because he's making a move to come forward as well, now racing side by side with Christopher Heights. They both need wins to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, another driver who needs a win, Todd Slauson, going to the outside of Craig Schroeder following Christopher Heights. So all these guys moving up. Cody Reeder moving up a lot. He's right behind Torn Shirts, who he's battling for that final playoff spot. He needs to finish 5 positions ahead or get 5 more points in than Torn in the stages here, as we see Todd kind of tag the wall there coming out of 2, but he will take the position for 8th place.
Well, we talked about it ahead of time. Todd Slauson brings out that Little Caesar sponsorship when he's feeling hot and ready, and maybe he's hot and ready for a win. He's going to need it if he's going to make the playoffs. We've got some side-by-side racing just behind. I believe that's Cody Reeder. As you can see, he's got to get forward. He's come from the back. He's up 4 spots right now, trying to make a pass on Jordan Abeta, and it looks like he's just actually gets around Cody Height there, and now he's going to try and set sail for Abeta, as now Bremkamp follows him through, and Height is on the outside. Cody Height on YouTube having trouble getting stuck on the outside there in the number 16.
Yeah, he's stuck on the outside. He won here in the Truck Series, and he's in the Cup playoff, but some of these guys that need to win, Bremkamp already moving up through the field.
3 wide here, Christian. Yeah. This is not advisable, but they're doing it.
It's not advisable, but man, I think Cody Height's going to clear them here. He will. Torn Shirts, he's going to get tight. Going to keep it off of the 13 there of Jacob Malone.
Well, back up front, still a battle happening here, albeit Sable has managed to take about 2 truck length lead over Sean Briscoe. Brian Jones has kind of backed off a little bit. All 3 kind of content to run nose to tail. at this moment, with Josh Conover just behind. Blade Timmons holding on in 5th place. And so far, this has been relatively bump and go free, but that may change over the length of this race. As you know, everybody just wants to take this win tonight. There's a lot of pride on the line. You want to go out the regular season with the bang. Who knows what's going to happen in the playoffs? But Sable, let's talk about Sable for a second, Christian. This guy came in partway into the season, and he has done some phenomenal things behind the scenes here in his truck in the Ford for JRC Sim team. He has been an absolute phenom, punching his ticket much earlier into the playoffs. It's been quite a show to watch Eric Sable.
Yeah, Sable has come in to this league. Ronnie Norman brought him in here, and he's been almost lights out since he's been here. He's been a top 3 truck almost every race that he's raced. So really impressive run for him, and getting into the playoffs was easy for him. His first race here, I believe he won.
And sometimes we see that, and yet sometimes you come in, get that monkey off your back real quick, and then it's a long time until you see another win. It's has been the case for some of the other drivers, but right now Sable doing what he needs to in Richmond and looking at a potential first stage victory, but not if this guy can do something about it. Sean Briscoe, 33-year-old out of Fair Oaks, California, racing for the Capital Motor Club. And you know, in California, Christian, they've got this burger chain. You heard of this group, In-N-Out?
I have never tried it, but heard they have great products there.
They do indeed. It's all they do is basically burgers and fries, and you can get your burger animal style is a certain type, and we're going to see if tonight maybe Sean Briscoe is ready to go animal style to take this victory in fashion here at Richmond for the season finale for the NORA Truck Series. Now, of course, Sean does not run over in the NORA Cup Series, which we feature here on VirtualRacing.Network on Tuesday nights. So this is your one and only chance on the network to catch this guy, Briscoe, doing what he does best out there in the front of these races. But it's been quite a long time since we have seen Sean Briscoe in position to take the win at the very end. And we'll have to see if he can pull that off tonight. Brian Jones right now in 3rd spot, doing a bang-up job. Of course, that is where he started. Looking on, surveying the field in front of him. He knows that Eric Sable is no threat in the championship, but he certainly does not want to let Sean Briscoe or Josh Conover, who is directly behind him, his 2 rivals in this regular season Drivers' Championship, he does not want to see them get away. And, you know, Brian, not likely to fall back in the pack, but if there was ever a race where you don't want to crash out and lose that regular season championship, this would be the race.
Yeah, coming in, Josh Conover only 8 points behind Brian Jones for that regular season championship. So Josh is going to do everything he can to maximize his points tonight. You see him right behind Brian Jones. Those 2 cars, the most likely to win the regular season championship, but on back through the field, we got battles in the top 10 right now. But you see Cody Reeder on the left side of your screen. He is in points position for this stage, and Torn Shirts is not. So if this race ended right now, Reeder would be in. So you got to look at Torn Shirts to try to get some points here in stage 1.
It is that close on those points. And of course, any one of those drivers, you know, Harper, Reeder, Shirts, any one of those drivers could do themselves a world of good and not just try to rely on points. They could make their way up here by the end of this race and take victory. That would solidify it. But either way, if you don't get victory, you're racing on points, and you better hope that your nearest rivals are behind you. As you mentioned, there's more battling going on a little bit further back. We'll keep an eye on this battle. This is one of the closest battles happening right now. Christopher Heights just in front there in the number R18 machine for Harper Motorsports, just behind Todd Slauson for full send. Slauson now side by side with Reeder. Reeder pokes through and gets the position, now currently up into 8th. Slauson back into 9th, but Slauson holding on to a top 10 right now. Reeder trying to get up there and get ahead of Tim Harper. And here's Mark Bremkamp for BS Motorsports. We were talking about him a little bit earlier. He's still in this fight. He would need to get a victory here tonight, but currently sitting in 10th out of this 22 truck field. By the way, for those of you who are Martin Pluke fans and Mark Morton fans, they did not make the start here tonight, so it's effectively a 20 truck field. And I'll tell you what, another surprise, this guy right here, he's kind of running by himself. I don't know if he had a problem. I haven't seen anything show up. But right now, Gladelich kind of running in the back. He's on pace. He's not too far off pace, but he has slid well off the back of the pack. Currently about 2 seconds up to Jordan Abeta in 12.60 up to Eric Sable. So he's only about 8 seconds from getting lapped here in the opening stage.
But he could be one of those drivers that is saving tires for stage 1 and not going to pit at the end of the stage. So it's very possible that that might be his strategy here. Or he could have gotten loose coming out of turn 4 and had a save. You never know.
Well, this is a bit of a different battle that they're engaged in. As you said, this is kind of the rabbit and the rabbit and the tortoise, where these guys are out here just running the tires off of these things, and perhaps Gladelich is trying to do the absolute opposite and hold on to those tires for the length of this stage. Currently, Eric Sable turning times right around 23.15. Now, that's a little bit more than a second off of his best time thus far. So the times have gone up quite a bit from where we started. But currently, he is able to hold his own up there in the front. No problems whatsoever. Gosh, this group is it's just not changing. All 5 of these trucks are just nose to tail. And Christian, is this kind of, do you think this is a strategy? Like, there's no point in me going up here and necessarily racing the guys in front. Just kind of conserve things, hold on. If there's no yellows, I'm going to need all the tires I can get at the end of this stage.
It could be, but I think more so it's a situation where it's easier to catch cars than it is to pass them. You can see right now Timmons and Conover side by side. It's not an easy pass for Timmons to pull off. Conover has the momentum on the outside. You can see he's going to get back to the outside of Blade Timmons here. So it's very hard to pass here. So the reason they were all in that line, the only way you can really make a move is if someone makes a mistake. And we saw Conover make a little mistake, get loose out of turn 2 a couple laps ago, and that allowed Timmons to get a run on him. And that's the only way that pass happened there.
You've got to be patient. You got to wait for your opportunity to arise, and then you have to seize that opportunity. Right now, we've got another battle happening just behind. This is Cody Reeder and Tim Harper. So you talk about a guy who has a fire lit under him. Hot and ready, this guy is. Cody Reeder now up into 6th. He started all the way back in 15th place. So he's having a heck of a run. And just a little bit further back, let's take a look at this battle side by side for Christopher Heitz and Mark Bremkamp. And then right behind, Slauson and Malone engaged in a battle there. Malone gets sideways.
That'll be our first caution of the day here.
Malone making contact there, it looked like. I'm going to have to jump back and check this one out. So this was just a moment ago. We were, of course, watching this battle happening. It looks like he just gets loose coming off the corner. Maybe he didn't. I mean, Christian, maybe he thought he just was going to be clear coming off the corner. He was surprised with how much he pushed up. Let's jump on board, and maybe we can figure this one out.
I think in this situation, he was pushing up the track. No, he just got loose. You could see he was turned pretty far right. I thought maybe he would be turned left to try to keep it off of Todd, but that truck just snapped around on him.
Well, we come back to the live picture, and look how full this pit lane is here at Richmond. Everybody is in. So perhaps if Gladelich thought he was going to be saving tires on the long green flag run and he'd get the bonus points that way, not so, as he did not stay out there to hold on to the track position, and as a result, everybody came in. Blade Timmons actually now shown up in 4th place. Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports only taking on fuel, so he did not take on tires, and as a result, he's gained 15 positions. He's up in 5th.
Yeah, that's just the strategy of saving a set of tires for late in the race. A late caution, he's got a new set of tires. He could drive through the field because these tires are important. They were a 1.5 seconds off the pace there, 35 laps in. And, you know, with about, I think, 30 to go in the stage, Geilis is going to have to try to stay on the lead lap at this point. Like, that's how significant these tires are.
Well, an interesting strategy here from Geilis to get himself back up into the top 5. Geilis, of course, Geilis is in the he is going to be in the playoffs, I believe, unless I got that wrong. But Geilis, did he punch a ticket? I can't remember if I read off his name. We'll research that.
Yeah, he did win. It was, I believe, Daytona that he won. So he is locked into the playoffs.
There you go. That's why I didn't recall it, because it was just before we started broadcasting the NORA Truck Series. But, hey, just looking over in YouTube real quick. Great to have you joining us. Ronnie Norman says he's a fan here tonight. Let's go 6 and 9. And Morgan Pavio, ka-chow. You bet. Thank you so much, dear, for checking in. Much love to you. Much love to everybody out there watching on YouTube. We've got this one back under green. 3 wide headed into turn number 1.
Yeah, Reeder with a great restart there. Gets underneath Conover. He's trying to get 5th place off of him already here tonight, as we got a little bit of a battle here between Blade Timmons and Brian Jones up ahead of them. And Eric Sable with a good lead right now on Sean Briscoe.
Well, they go through the corner now, side by side back there, but nose to tail, they've already settled in. Sable, Briscoe, Jones, Timmons, Conover, that's your top 5. Reeder just outside that top 5, and behind him, Bremkamp, Slauson, Clark, and Harper. That is your top 10. They are side by side back here between Conover and Timmons. They file back in, though, quickly deciding that one a little bit further back. We've got some more side-by-side action. That's Ian Clark for FAFO Motorsports in that number 82 machine, which you can't really tell because I guess he's chosen that he doesn't want to display the 82 number, but trust me when I tell you, that should say 82 on that machine there. And alongside was Todd Slauson, but Slauson, in fact, as I now look back there, Slauson is still swapping positions with Ian Clark. So still swapping for 8th place as Bremkamp has moved forward into 7th.
Oh, trouble, Craig Schroeder. I don't know if he went fully around. I don't think it'll bring out a caution, but he hit the inside wall.
Schroeder having a moment there. It's possible that this happened just a moment ago with Slauson getting by. Nope, looks like all alone for Schroeder. and Brad Fulham, getting by there, no problems. Jump back to the live picture, and Eric Sable still up there in front, but looks like Guileless has decided to bring it down onto pit lane.
Yeah, the original plan for him was he was gonna start and park, but then whenever he pulled that strategy, I thought maybe he was gonna race it out, but he is gonna pull it in and do race control.
Well, we appreciate Nick giving us a chance to look at his truck. And
oh, Brian Jones around in the grass.
Brian Jones, we'll have to get the camera on him. He's sitting in the grass on the front stretch. What is going on with Brian Jones?
Something happened to Brian Jones around Blade Timmons as they came out of turn 4. We'll have to show a replay here and see what exactly happened. It does stay green, but
this is a complete disaster for Brian Jones. He does not want to go down a lap here. So he's gone all the way down to 18th place, and he's almost 14 seconds down to Sean Briscoe, who has now taken over the lead. We'll have to see. He should be okay from there if he can keep pace. But yes, let's take a look at what took place here just a moment ago on the track with Brian Jones, who was racing for position. And we'll try and get over the top so we can see exactly what happened between these drivers. But we check in. It looks like maybe we need to back that up just a little bit more so we can really see this one unfold. But that is the one truck of Blade Timmons really racing him hard into the corner. In fact, if we go a little bit further back, you can see, wow, there is a lot of stuff going on here the further we go back. Blade on the inside, coming off of the corner. He then, Brian switches to the inside. Blade goes to the outside, but he races far down onto the truck. And I think Brian just kind of got loose himself. It doesn't really look like much contact from Blade. Blade just raced him really close on that outside line. Christian?
Yeah, whenever you're that tight on a truck, it will take the air off your truck and get you loose. So Brian Jones went to block the bottom. Blade jumped to the outside, pinched Jones pretty tight. And you can see Brian Jones is going to start whipping that wheel to the right because there's just nothing on that spoiler, and he goes around.
Mowing some grass out there for sure. So this is big implications right now for Brian Jones, our championship leader coming in, who wants to take this regular season championship. But if he were, for example, to finish where he's at now, I don't have the official calculator out, but I would say he probably does not win this regular season championship.
Well, as of right now, with Josh Conover being in 4th place, he's going to get 7 points for this stage. He came into this race 8 behind, so if he's able to finish 4th, he will only be 1 point back of Brian Jones.
Well, and then it certainly becomes an effort for somebody like Conover to go out there, make sure he leads a lap, make sure he tries to lead the most laps. Blade Timmons making a move down the inside of Eric Sable. This is for 2nd position.
Yeah, Sable going to easily defend that position there. He's got the outside lane, uses the momentum to carry him past Blade Timmons. Behind him, Conover kind of sneaking into this. The more time that they're going to spend side by side, it's going to allow Josh to set up a run on one of these two. So look for that to possibly happen.
Well, still so much to play for here and still so long to go. Tonight's race, 50 laps longer than we had here last night at Richmond Raceway. So still a lot of strategy to unfold, a lot of green flag racing to happen out here, and a lot of tire savings to happen as well. We're going to have to see where this puts Brian after all of this. Will he get a lucky caution that will group everybody back together? Is everybody going to be making green flag pit stops? Obviously, we're going to get the stage caution, So that's going to help him out tremendously. And then following that, we'll have to see whether or not he gambles and chooses to not take tires, stays out there. We'll see whether anybody else decides at the front to take tires, fuel, etc. But a lot of different ways you could play this one out, and still a long ways to go. But check out this lead that Briscoe has managed to open. He's now got about 10 truck lengths back to Eric Sable, who sits in second, but he of course is under attack here from 3 trucks right behind. Should Sable make a misstep the same way that Brian Jones does, there's going to be a couple of trucks more than eager to take over that second spot. A little bit further back though, we still got more battling happening in this field. We've got Bremkamp right here, just still being looked at by Ian Clark. It's right behind him, and just behind that, here's Torrance Schertz, one of those drivers that's trying to get in based off of points. Currently sitting in 8th place, and he's the second driver in that group who is there. All 3 of those drivers battling it out to see who can get the most points here tonight and stay in the playoffs coming up soon. Timothy Harper, the final driver in that group, sitting back here in 11th place. And of course, none of these 3 drivers are going to get any of those bonus points here at the end of this stage, which is coming up here in about 7 laps or so. So Briscoe up in the front.
Sorry to interrupt. They will get stage points. Cody Reeder will get 5. Torrance Schertz should get 3. Harper, the only one that won't get bonus points. They do award the top 10 those 10 points over here. And I wanted to bring that up because Reeder in 5th. Schertz is behind him 3 positions, so that's 3 points that Reeder will gain, and he'll only be 2 out now at the end of the stage if he stays where he is.
Well, there's so much to keep track of, but you're absolutely right. They do pay out stage points all the way back to 10th. So certainly, I mean, if you're Tim Harper right now, you're sitting in 11th place. The one thing that is keeping you out of those stage points is Todd Slauson. And basically about a second or so that he'll have to make up. There's Harper, and he can see it from there, but it's a long ways to make it in 5 laps. He's going to have to get up there and get that hot and ready in less than 5 laps, so we'll see whether or not he can do it. Surprisingly, Cody Hyde on YouTube back here as well in 12th place. Not where we're used to necessarily seeing Cody running here, but this is a tough night here at Richmond. A lot of drivers really want those points, but he's trying to do everything he can to hold up there and possibly take top 10 as well. And back here a little bit further, Jacob Gladelich, Craig Schroeder, and Christopher Heitz all racing it out for 15th place. And checking in back here on Brian Jones, I think he's pretty well holding on here. No more spins, no more potential issues. He's going to hold on here, and he's actually managed to claw back a little bit of time on Sean Briscoe overall. So putting in
that lead is tightened up front. Look at this. Sable, 2 laps to go in the stage. He's almost there. He's catching them.
Well, we check in now is, Briscoe trying to fight it out and get the max points for this championship. If Briscoe could take a couple of wins of stages here tonight, he's going to do a great job of getting himself there. But Sable says, not so fast, young man. I'm looking on, and I might be able to take this victory myself.
A white flag in the stage this lap. He's got to try to make a move in 3 and 4 if he wants this stage win.
Well,
see if he tries anything.
We will see indeed. And Sable, he's in the drive-through. I wonder if he's going to dial up a pass on Sean Briscoe. He heads in.
Unable to make it happen.
What's that?
Unable to make it happen, as that is the end of the stage there.
That's going to do it for stage number 1. That was a great effort from Sable, but unable to get up there and take that top spot from Briscoe. Briscoe taking max points there in stage number 1. Congratulations to him. Second place going to Eric Sable. Third, Blade Timmons. Fourth, Josh Conover. Conover taking some great points. And Cody Reeder, Cody is on the outside looking in the playoffs right now. So he's just taken some of those points, as you mentioned, that he's going to need. He's just going to need a few more points, and he will be effectively into the playoffs, and he'll be pushing out at least Torrin Shirts. But we'll have to see how this all works out in the long run. You see everybody coming down into the pits, including Brian Jones. So everybody, with the exception of Jordan Abeto, he's going to buck the trend, and it's got the City Chevrolet sponsorship, so familiar to the Days of Thunder fans out there. It's going to move up there and try to get up into the lead for a little bit. We're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be right back. You don't want to go anywhere. Tons of great green flag racing yet to come. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's so great to have everybody joining us here on YouTube. If you're not already a subscriber, so many people who are watching are not subscribed. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. It's so easy. You get notified of all of our upcoming races, especially if you click on that little bell and say, I want all the notifications. We're so pleased here to have Torrin Shirts joining us here in the booth for a moment. Torrin, great to have you here, and tell us how'd that first stage go for you. You got to make it in on points to the playoffs. What you looking for here at the end of this race?
Yeah, I just got to get a little better here. I fell off way too much at the start of that first stage, so got to save a little too much. I don't know, man. We're just see how fast we are here, and hopefully we can get up front.
All right, well, best of luck to you. Hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of this race. Good luck.
Thank you.
So just a moment to talk with Torrin there, and feels like he's got to make some changes here in this second stage, Christian. I'm sure a lot of these drivers thinking the same thing, but Sean Briscoe, I don't think he needs to make any changes. He needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's headed into turn 1 in the lead, but watch for that number 1 truck, Blade Timmons, bringing it in quickly. Whoa, that was some close racing there, and now Eric Sable's sticking it down the inside. He's going to try his best to steal that position back.
Yeah, Conover with a great save. He almost went around off the bumper of Jacob Malone. That was a very close incident, and now we see Cody Reeder making a move on Eric Sable, or at least trying to, but Conover still side by side with Remkamp currently.
This is a tight battle happening here in that 5th position. Bremkamp says, no, sir. I'm going to take the outside. I'm going to try to take this position. And he's still racing side by side. It's very close out there for that position. Tell you what, still going around side by side. Tight quarters racing here at Richmond between Josh Conover and Mark Bremkamp.
Yeah, Bremkamp able to stay out there so long because of the momentum that he gets off the corner. You can see him start to gap Conover, but then Conover is able to drive it in a little deeper on the inside, going into the corners. So it's going to be pretty much side by side for the next 5 laps or so, until those tires aren't able to hold up as much for Conover, and he'll start drifting up the track, getting a little tight. As you see him get loose there, and so does Bremkamp. Oh, they make contact. Well, that's another way to clear him. You got to just push him off. Yeah.
That was very close, perhaps too close for comfort, as Sean Briscoe's open up a solid lead, but right now they are still racing it out side by side. Blake Timmons, Eric Sable now taking that fight for 2nd place. This has been a hot battle here. A lot of hot battles throughout the field. We saw a lot of settling in over that first stage, but it looks like some of these drivers, they know they want to get up there into 2nd, maybe have a chance at this victory after all. And they are still battling it out, hot and heavy at the front. Great to have Nathan Finnegan checking in over in our YouTube chat room. Last night's winner here from the Icon Cup Series, saying solid battles throughout the field tonight. That 9 truck making a run, and indeed that 9 is the one to watch out there. We're going to see where Eric Sable ends up here at the end, but he has been a solid runner ever since he came into the NORA Truck Series, and certainly looking to see whether or not he's going to be able to get back by Blake Timmons. I mean, Timmons, of course, running also, he wanted to run last night over in the Icon Cup Series, but wasn't able to get there. And so flying in tonight on his private helicopter, able to actually get out there for Blake Timmons Racing and put in the laps. And tell you what, we kind of missed him last night, because this is one heck of a performance he's putting on.
Yeah, he's running real well, but right here behind them, Cody Reeder's starting to look low on Eric Sable. He wants to get up into 3rd to get as many points as he can over Torn Shirts. But if they finish as they are right now, that will put Cody Reeder, I believe, +3 over Torn Shirts going into the final stage. So Torn has a lot of work to do with Reeder being up in 4th and him in 8th.
Well, and right now, Tim Harper still sitting outside the top 10 in 11th. So still outside of those stage points, with Torrance Shirt sitting in 8th place. So right now, those 2 drivers kind of doing what they need to do to ensure that they'll make it in on points. But should a driver come through and win, for example, how about this guy in 5th place, Mark Bremkamp? If Bremkamp were to come through and win here tonight, he would in effect guaranteed push out one of those drivers, in fact 2 of those drivers. So this would be quite the phenomenal thing for Bremkamp to be able to pull off this win. But he is right now in 5th place, and he is having about all he can handle from that Hooters truck, Josh Conover.
Yeah, if you're Cody Reeder, if you're Torn Shirts, and if you're Tim Harper right now, your best friends are the guys in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Those guys already have wins or are already locked in. Briscoe doesn't have a win yet, but is locked in on points. So if one of those 3 win, effectively 2 of the 3 of them will have a shot at getting into the playoffs. But like you said, any of these other guys, Bremkamp, I believe Slauson, Gladich is already locked in too. So it's only Slauson and Fulham and Bremkamp are the 3 that are trying to get in on wins, and I believe Craig Schroeder as well.
Schroeder as well, definitely. It could happen here tonight for sure. But again, any one of these three, should they take the victory, will solidify themselves. Like, should Reeder or should Harper get in? I mean, yes, they would. Like, for example, if Harper doesn't get any playoff points or doesn't get any stage points whatsoever in this race, but he comes back and wins the race, it doesn't matter. He's getting into the playoffs, and whoever's second best out of the rest of those two is the one who's out. But there's so much to play for here, and of course, anything can happen in the course of this. That's why you want to keep it clean if you're any one of these drivers, and they're doing so right now. You're seeing some really clean racing out here. I think all these drivers really got to appreciate that. Great side-by-side racing, and yet still keeping it very clean. Cody Reeder and Josh Conover currently side-by-side for position. This is something else. Excuse me, Bremkamp and Conover side-by-side. So many laps they have gone, and they have kept it clean. No paint has been rubbed off of either one of these trucks. They've just passed each other about 100 times.
Yeah, these two battling real hard here, and Jacob Malone just watching on, seeing if he can possibly get into this battle. He's driving for owners points, doesn't necessarily need a win, but he's a guy that wants to win every single week that he's out here. And we see torn shirts behind him having to hold up Ian Clark right now. Clark on his bumper trying to make a move for 8th place.
Clark sticks it down the inside. He's also racing for owner points out here. Thinks better of it. Pulls that machine back. I tell you what, after all was said and done, though, let's look at who's behind this mess. That's Brian Jones. He is still sitting in 10th place. Now, I'm not sure. Maybe he is trying that alternate strategy on tires that you talked about, Christian. I don't know. But he is sitting back right now in 10th. And if this stage were to end right now, he would only be getting a couple of points. And I believe Briscoe and Conover would definitely eclipse him. He'd be in the virtual 3rd place in the championship, in the regular season championship.
Well, we got to remember he did spun out into the grass, so he is on the same tires. Not pulling strategy. He restarted, I think, 18th, and has made his way up to the top 10. But you are correct. If he doesn't finish right behind Josh Conover in this stage, Conover will have a lead over him.
Well, and I don't know the exact statistics on how many weeks Brian Jones has held the points lead in this series. I want to say it's every week that we have been covering this NORA Truck Series. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it's been, a solid 13 weeks or so since we've been covering this. And it would be something else in the finale race of the regular season to see him lose the championship in a mostly green flag racing race. This would be something else, and certainly would be heartbreak for Brian Jones. But we'll see. Still so much more racing to go, just over the century mark in laps, and still 1.5 times as many to go.
Yeah, looking at the driver points right now, it looks like Sean Briscoe, if he wins this stage, can possibly solidify his spot at the top. He came in, I believe, 22 points behind Brian Jones. If he gets 20 bonus points and Brian Jones only gets that one that he has right now, all he has to do is finish ahead of Brian Jones by 3 or 4 positions, and he wins the regular season championship over Conover and Brian Jones.
That would be absolutely phenomenal. What a cool battle going on here for points, and we're going to have to see if Brian Jones can manage to do something about it. You're going to have to do some really fast math for us here at the end of this race, Christian.
I've got my paper, my pen, and my calculator going hard.
But certainly as we get done with this one, there's going to be a lot of folks out there calculating I'm sure Josh, as soon as it's done, he's going to try to get the points done and figured out. But we'll have to try to do our best to get the finale results, and I'm sure we will know the regular season champion by the end of this broadcast. So everybody out there watching, stay tuned. We'll make sure to do our best to get you that info. And as Nathan Finnegan says, these boys are putting on a show with the side-by-side racing. You bet, and we're only just partway through this thing. Think of what it's going to be like if we have like a 10-lap shootout for the race win. This could be some really phenomenal stuff here. As Briscoe now working under some lap traffic. That is the number 10 of Craig Schroeder. Schroeder about to go a lap down, and with that it kind of dashes his hopes here tonight, unless he can get the lucky dog and get back on the lead lap. That might dash his hopes of taking victory and possibly securing his place in the championship playoffs. But that's what tonight is all about, Christian. Some drivers are going to have they're going to have reason to celebrate and spray some champagne, and some other drivers, they're going to be quite sad at the evening's end that they did not make the playoffs. Some dreams will be crushed, but it's the nature of the beast out here in the racing world. At some point, it's got to cut down to just the race winners, and whoever's left on points to get in 10 total will make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, there's two insane points battles that we got to keep an eye on, and I'm struggling over here to keep an eye on it. But it looks like, as far as Reeder, he's sitting in fourth. Schertz is in eighth. So still, Reeder will be ahead of Schertz, and Schertz will be the one eliminated. Harper didn't really need these stage points. What he needs is just a solid finish. If he finishes inside that top 15, which right now he's sitting 15th, if he finishes inside the top 15, he should easily make it in on points.
Well, we'll watch to see whether that's possible. Right now, it is all Sean Briscoe. No questions asked. Blade Timmons holding on to second place over a very narrow margin over Eric Sable, and Cody Reeder there in fourth place. This is a tight battle here at the front of this one. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Christian, but I think Cody Reeder would be the first one to say he just shouldn't have put himself in this position. I mean, he's racing hard now. We've seen this guy just with his other teammates over at KPR Motorsports. We've seen him up in the lead. We've seen him top 5 practically every single race that he enters in. And it's kind of a shock that he hasn't taken a race win here yet in the NORA Truck Series, or put himself clear of his teammates. But Cody Reeder, he's doing his best out there tonight. He's trying to put himself in position to take this one on points. And I mean, the number 1 truck, it carries with it a certain amount of prestige to wear that number 1. And right now he's trying to do his best to get in the playoffs, where everything's going to kind of reset, and he'll get another chance at taking the NORA Truck Series crown. So looking on here, Eric Sable in third place, Cody Reeder in fourth, and of course they're both chasing Blade Timmons as we're still ticking down the laps, about 26 more laps to go until we hit that magic stage number 2 mark. Who is going to take the stage win? Right now it's pretty hard to bet on anybody other than Sean Briscoe, but again, you've got to stay in the groove out there. Christian, what's it like? And I know the answer to this question myself, but I want to hear your opinion. What's it like out there? You're going around this track and you've got to put in lap after lap after lap, 50, 70 laps in a row, going around in a circle that's only 3/4 of a mile around. How do you keep your concentration? How do you stay alert, stay awake, stay focused on the job at hand like Sean Briscoe's doing right now?
Well, it's very tough, especially going lap after lap, doing the same exact thing over and over again. You start kind of getting into this zoning out situation where the slightest little slip up could ruin your entire race. So you just got to focus and be on your game every single lap, every single corner. And some of the ways that drivers like to stay focused is having somebody talking to them, making sure that they stay awake. That's why a lot of these drivers that we see throughout the field, they're all in a room with somebody. Cody Reeder has a live spotter for him tonight. So he's got somebody talking to him and keeping him alert. I believe Briscoe is also in a room with someone talking to him. So these guys use friends to just kind of communicate with them and keep them alert so that they don't zone out and make mistakes.
Well, it's all about not zoning out. I mean, you can easily zone out. You can mess up. Easy stuff to do when you're just kind of cruising around. You got the truck hooked up, flying through turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Doesn't matter whether you're in first place, second place, third place, 10th place, whatever. If you've got it figured out, there's not really much for you to adjust to. And you've got to keep yourself awake because anything could happen on any particular lap. Yellow could come out, right, a guy in front of you could spin out. There could be 2 trucks blocking the track. I mean, there's anything can happen in a short amount of time.
Yeah, anything can happen, and we've seen it happen before, where there was a car that ended up spinning out, and the leader wasn't aware that there was a car sideways on the track and had nowhere to go, and essentially just ran right into him. So it's happened before here in NORA. These guys just got to be careful of it. And the zoning out thing, it's kind of like real life. If you're driving on a highway that's just completely straight, and there's nothing but like grass to your right and grass to your left, and there's no other cars, you just start kind of zoning out, and then you get to a red light, and then you realize, wait, did I run that or was it green? So it sometimes happens while you're actually behind the wheel of a car. So that's what these guys are dealing with, just going in a rhythm, and once you get into that rhythm, it's hard to break it, and a car sideways will definitely break that rhythm.
For certain, and you're watching this battle going on now. I think that's the other thing you have to remind yourself too. If you're trying to make that pass up here, again, track position so critical here that if you're trying to get that pass to second, for example, if you're Cody Reeder and you're saying, okay, I've got to get by Blade Timmons, you've got to stay alert so that if he moves up the track or gets a little wiggle, you're on it, you're ready to make that jump. Here he comes. Cody Reeder gets a nose on him, and he's going to surge into second place. Move Cody Reeder up into second, and that's exactly what we're talking about. He saw the opportunity happen with Blade Timmons. Blade was just a little slow coming off the corner, and Cody Reeder jumped on that opportunity.
Oh, we had a big move at the same time there. Conover dove low on Eric Sable, will pass him, and the reason that he had to get that pass done is Brian Jones has moved up into seventh now, but you can see he drives it in very deep into 3, and he'll get by Eric Sable. Kind of a slide job, a situation where I think Eric said, I know you need the points more than me, so I'm just going to let you have this. But the reason he's got to put the pedal down, Brian Jones into 7th, that's going to put him almost tied with Conover coming out of stage 2.
Well, right now, Brian Jones doing whatever he can to get as many points as he can. He's trying to climb up this order, and right now his first target is 4th place Josh Conover. He'd love to beat Josh to the line for this stage. He'd love to beat him to the race win if possible, but I'm telling you, Brian he's got to be I don't think it's time to start sweating bullets yet, but as we're now over halfway with this one, Sean Briscoe's up in front. Brian Jones is back in 7th. I mean, he's got a lot of trucks to go through, a lot of ground to cover, and he's got to figure out how to kind of beat these guys fair and square. They've already gotten more stage points than him, and they may finish with more stage points at the end of this stage. So he's going to have to beat him fair and square if he wants to take the regular season championship.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do with Briscoe getting 20 points in these two stages. That is huge for him. Brian Jones, in the position that he's at, he only gets 4 points. So that's a 16 point gap there. So theoretically, Briscoe would have to finish 8 positions ahead of Brian Jones in order to get that regular season championship.
Well, a lot of work to do for Jones, but he keeps at it. His next driver that he's going to be trying to pass is Jacob Malone. Currently sits in the 6th place, and Malone, not one of those drivers who's racing for drivers' points, but he's done a heck of a good job out there tonight for the JRC Sim team. He's behind his teammate, Eric Sable, who's currently running in 5th, but Malone holding his own there in 6th place and possibly looking at a top 5 before the end of this one. Of course, right now they are working, just about to work under the 46 machine as he has gone down a lap. Who am I looking at out there, Christian?
Agbieta, I think that is, in the 95.
That a beta in the 95? Yeah. It is indeed. So, a couple of these drivers going to get fined at least $10,000 or $20,000 from NORA for having the wrong numbers on their trucks. Brian Jones, though, almost taking advantage there momentarily. We can get the camera back in focus. Brian Jones almost taking advantage of that lap car coming through the field and taking a look underneath Jacob Malone. Almost taking that pass, but he'll have to size him up again. Now I think Jones starting to feel it. This is going to be for 6th position if Jones can take it, and one step closer to a potential regular season championship for Brian Jones. But right now, he is playing catch up. He's playing from behind. He's got a lot of work to do. We're going to see whether Brian Jones has got what it takes to, in fact, take this regular season championship. He's going to have to do it legitimately by going up there and beating the other guys, assuming that Conover and Briscoe don't suffer some sort of terrible fate before the end of this one. But right now, Malone holds a number of points that Jones would love to have. And I should have prefaced this entire race by saying, if you don't like to hear about points battles, this may not be the race for you, because it's all about points here. Whoever can get into the playoffs, whoever can take that win. I mean, let's again, if we're talking about this other points battle that's going on, I know we think that as it does look like Brian Jones is possibly going to take this position away from Malone. But up in front, if Reeder can take the race victory, that is going to solidify him into the playoffs. And that means that no matter what, for example, in this case, it's probably Tim Harper does, he cannot make the playoffs. And it's just that simple. So Reeder up there in 2nd place, if he takes the win, that's going to be it. And that's going to be it for stage number 2. So Briscoe, Reeder, Timmons, Conover, and Sable, that is your top 5 for stage number 2. Briscoe so far taking maximum points here at Richmond Raceway. Congratulations to him. Conover getting a bunch of points towards his points battle, and Cody Reeder as well. We're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. Catch our breath. We'll be back with a driver interview and so much more Green Flag Racing as we're into the final stage of the finale for the NORA Truck Series 2023 regular season. Stay tuned. welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's been so exciting thus far. We've had a couple of points battles for the playoffs playing out here, and really the driver at the centerpiece of this points battle for the championship, the regular season championship, has been Sean Briscoe. Sean, you're now joining us here live in the booth, and congratulations taking the first 2 stage victories. You're certainly doing everything you can to try to take this regular season championship.
I'm trying. I've still got 100 laps to go, so we'll see how this goes.
You're going to need some cooperation from the other drivers. I think Christian was saying you're going to need them to finish somewhere towards the back half of the top 10 or something like that, but does that really matter to you? You pretty much just got one focus out there, right? That's to go take that W?
Yeah, pretty much. Kind of get into the playoffs the right way. At least that's how I'm thinking anyway, so we'll see. Been busy, so.
Well, maybe this will be the night. We haven't seen you in that victory circle yet at the end of one of these races, but we're looking forward to doing that, and certainly night afterwards, you can go out and celebrate animal style at your favorite restaurant. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right, my friend. Well, good luck out there the rest of this race. We'll look forward to talking to you at the end.
Alrighty. See you later.
So that is Sean Briscoe, who's got a job to do. We don't want to take him away from that strategy, but the lights are off on the pace car. Christian, you got to pull them belts down tight one more time for 100 laps. And get one in the books if you're going to get the W in the regular season. Sean Briscoe leads us back to the green at Richmond.
Yeah, you can see he's already going to clear for the lead easily. He's going to gap them by about 2 or 3 truck lengths already, and that's Cody Reeder with Blade Timmons underneath him battling for second place here. Behind them, Josh Conover and Eric Sable, and then Brian Jones in 6th there with Malone behind him.
Cody Reeder on the outside of Blade Timmons as we come back to the green here. And it looks like Jordan Abeta has crashed somewhere on the track. In fact, it appears as though he had just left the pit lane, and I think he decided to park that machine. So that's going to do it for Abeta. But Cody Reeder takes that second place. You gotta wonder, Christian. Briscoe was talking about in that interview as Conover now is going to take a look on the low side on Timmons. I do wonder if Cody Reeder doesn't want to get into this playoffs the right way. He'd have to go up there and snatch that position away from Briscoe, but that'd be the way to do it.
And I just got an update from our administration here in NORA. Josh Conover currently at 618 on points. Brian Jones behind him with 617, and Briscoe at 610 currently. So Josh Conover currently, as it stands, is the regular season champion, but oh man.
No! He makes contact and manages to save it, but he's drifting backwards quickly. Brian Jones gets in front of Josh Conover.
And with that, right now, Brian Jones would be the regular season champion because there's a car in between them. If Josh can pass Jacob Malone and finish one position behind Brian Jones, they tie. In the tiebreaker, I think, goes to the best finish, so it would be Brian Jones.
Wow. So Conover saw the opportunity to try to make a pass, and that did it for him. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get the pass pulled off, and he almost bought the farm there. How costly would that have been if he had spun and perhaps hit the wall? That it could have been absolute disaster. But some great car handling skills out there by Josh Conover, able to keep that truck pointed right, and as a result, he still has a chance at this regular season championship. But right now, Brian Jones emerges up into 5th and is now looking forward, and he can see the front from there now, finally. He's going to take a look down the inside of Eric Sable. Nope, he thinks better of it there coming through the corner.
Yeah, Sable left a little bit of a gap there, and Jones was ready to pounce and take that gap, but Sable was able to close it up, and Jones will fall in behind him. And now Josh Conover's got a run here on Malone. He's going to look low here going into 3.
Well, let's hope that it turns out a little better than the last pass attempt that Conover had. He's passed many trucks out there, but last time out it almost cost him the entire championship. And right now, Conover back in the lead of the championship for a moment, but Malone surges ahead. This is the difference between winning a regular season championship and not. And Jacob Malone, for Josh's own team, JRC Sim Team, is the driver that's keeping him from winning the championship. And I doubt he knows that at the moment.
Well, actually, I believe Malone is no longer on JRC Sim, but I don't know what team he is on. I think he might be independent now. But he is no longer for JRC Sim, so now he's kind of his former boss. He's putting up a fight against him.
Well, as I look over and try and sort this one out, you're absolutely right. I cannot find which team, as you said, Malone is actually racing for at the moment. Oh, he is racing for Hollinger Racing. So I guess that was one of the changes. We'll make sure that we get that updated. But is this, I mean, now knowing that, Christian, are we watching?
Oh! Oh, man. Malone into the back of Brian Jones. He's going to move him out of the way.
Malone up into the back of Jones. He's going to try to take that position. Are we watching some aggression out of Malone? He's gotten kicked off the JRC Sim team, or perhaps he's decided to quit, and now he says, I don't care about you guys racing for the championship. I'm going to go for the W myself. And he gets sideways there coming off the corner, almost makes contact with Brian Jones.
You know, me personally, I am not a fan of this. You got to know the situation you're in. These two are racing for a regular season championship. There's no need to try to move somebody for a position this late into the race. And now you see him slide up the track into Brian Jones, Conover trying to get underneath him. Oh, man. You got to have situational awareness for this part.
Well, Malone continues on now in between the two championship drivers. But will he finish that way? Is he going to try something here before too long? We're going to watch and try and find out, as this is about the most exciting battle happening at the moment.
Real quick, up front, Cody Reeder has narrowed that gap into Sean Briscoe's lead. So Reeder's starting to catch Briscoe a little bit, and he's in a must-win, so that makes things interesting for Torn Shirts and Harper.
So we move up to Sean Briscoe, and there you can see Cody Reeder. This is one heck of a battle, of course. Briscoe's doing everything he can to try to take that victory, try to take all of the points here tonight, but it may be for naught if Conover and Brian Jones can finish up in the top 10 somewhere. So we'll wait for final clarification on where everybody is running at the moment and the total points, but as you can see, the gap is still coming down, and it's going to be a question as to whether he can hold off Cody Reeder, because Reeder is closing that gap just a little bit.
Ever so slightly, he's chipping away at the lead, and currently has it sits Brian Jones in that position to win the championship by about 3 points, 2 points over Josh Conover currently, and 3 points over Briscoe. So that is how close it is. After, I think it's 18 races we've been this season, it comes down to this, like 10 points. That's incredible.
absolutely is, and he's managed to stabilize that gap here recently, so we'll see whether or not he can stay there or close in at all.
And I do have my my inside source working on the cutoff battle. We don't have an exact number yet on where everybody is, but he is working feverishly to try to get that wrapped up and send it over to me as soon as he can.
Well, we appreciate everybody working behind the scenes, especially yourself, Christian. Try to get us all those points updates. I know a lot of drivers, their families are watching right now, trying to see where the drivers are going to end up, and it's a good question. This has been one heck of a battle here in the NORA Truck Series 2023. It's amazing to see it come down to two different points battles here in the closing stages, and we still have about 80 laps to go in this one. You know, Christian, can I just say that it's been a pretty clean race so far?
It has. Yeah, it has been a phenomenal race so far. Only one caution due to incidents so far. Harper, I am getting a word. Harper is locked in after stage 2. He is locked into the playoffs. So now it is between Reeder and Schertz for that final position, and currently Reeder is up by 4 points over Schertz. So Schertz would have to finish within 5 positions of Reeder to have a shot at getting into the playoffs. But we see on track right now, Reeder has narrowed that gap. He is now 4/10 back. He is just 2 truck lengths behind John Briscoe here with under 80 to go.
Well, Cody Reeder has been absolutely stellar tonight, moving forward 13 positions in his Chevy. This has been one of those types of performances that we've seen not only out of Cody Reeder himself, but KPR Motorsports in general. Some great talent over there with that team. And we're going to see tonight whether or not Cody Reeder's got what it takes to take on one of the absolute top talents here in the NORA Truck Series in Sean Briscoe. But I tell you what, he's going to have to pry this W out of Sean Briscoe's hands. He is not going to give this one up. And certainly with track position being as valuable as it is, you know that Sean Briscoe is not going to let go anytime soon. He's not going to open that door up willingly, that's for sure.
And right now, if you're Briscoe, you got to understand, you're in a situation where you are locked in no matter what, even if you don't win. Cody Reeder, he's not officially locked in as of right now. So how willing is Cody to move Sean Briscoe out of the way? And will Briscoe be smart enough to maybe say, this win isn't worth wrecking both of us, so let me just give the position here?
You're racing out there. You're going, I mean, you know, Briscoe, he hasn't taken the win yet this season. And I know that he's going to be in the playoffs. He's got a chance to do that after tonight. And there's still quite a few great races. One thing about the playoffs, there's not a road course in the playoffs. It's kind of an interesting playoff schedule. We've been running that at the bottom of the screen for anybody interested in what the upcoming races are. But, I mean, we start off with a track that we have not even visited yet on the regular season schedule, and that's Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park. And then we've got Kansas, we've got Bristol. I mean, it's several fairly short tracks. And then we go to Talladega, so it's definitely a lot more slanted towards the smaller tracks, and that could also play into Briscoe's hands as well. But tonight, he's in front. You can't beat that. You don't know. I mean, anything could happen in the playoffs. You may not be necessarily. I mean, you'd like to think that Briscoe would be here every single time out, but you have no idea when the next time you're going to be up in the lead and have a chance at winning a race. So, hey, if you're up in the front, why make it easy for the guy behind you to take the victory? But certainly, as you said, I mean, there comes a certain point where you say, I just don't maybe have the tires to hold on like Cody Reeder does. So, it's tough to say. I don't know that it's checkers or wreckers for Sean Briscoe, but that's why we watch to find out. 69 laps to go here to decide the regular season champion for the NORA Truck Series 2023. Who's going to take victory tonight? Who will take that championship? And who will cement their ticket into the playoffs? We're still under green here, and we're going to find out in just a little over 67 laps to go here. This is exciting stuff. We're so grateful for you joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. Everybody's always got stuff to do out there, but it's always so cool when I look up and I see, 12, 15, 20 people joining us live here, watching these great races from the NORA Truck Series, NORA Cup Series. Of course, we feature the Icon Cup Series also on Sunday nights. So much to play for in these races. And Christian, I mean, look at it this way. If you're any one of the top 3 drivers right now, you haven't taken a win yet in this series, and you'd love to put your name in the NORA history books by putting a win in that W column. I mean, for any one of these 3 that are up front right now, it would be so meaningful to take the victory.
Yeah, for Cody Reeder, he hasn't won yet this season. He has been a winner here in NORA in the past, though. So not in his winning ways this season, but he definitely wants it. Blade Timmons, I believe he has won here before. I'm not 100% sure on that stat. I'd have to go check. But, yeah, Briscoe looking for his first win. You got other guys that are looking for their first ever wins in NORA that are still in the top 10. Bremkamp, Fulham, they're both in the top 10, needing a win. So it's possible. We can't count them out. Anyone can still win this race. Strategy could come into factor. There could be green flag stops. We just don't know yet.
Well, we're about to have a battle happening here for 8th place. This is Torrance Schertz and Mark Bremkamp. And Bremkamp going to take a look down on the low side of Torrance Schertz. This is for, as I said, for 8th.
Yeah, Torn throughout the night, he's been running that outside lane consistently. He's not going down to the bottom at all. He's running about a lane up off the bottom, and he's been doing that all night, and it's been working for him so far. And just to update the points, I said Harper was in no matter what. I stand corrected. He has to finish inside the top 16 to guarantee his spot.
Well, that's not a guarantee yet, as there's 18 runners still out there at the moment. So if Harper were to wreck out at this point, he would not finish in the top 16. Just another reason why you're out there driving on eggshells, so to speak, at the moment. Just trying to make sure that you get through this battle. We look up here, also seeing Cody Height racing to try to pass Tim Harper. So, I mean, the last thing you want to do is actually get past here and drift back and put yourself in that danger zone of, potentially being back in 17th place.
Yeah, the only theoretical for Harper to get eliminated would be if Schertz wins. If Schertz wins, he would have to finish top 16, but at the current moment, he is fine. But if Schertz wins, that is when he needs to finish in the top 16.
So, do we know, is Reeder guaranteed in at this point?
At this point, as long as he finishes second and Schertz finishes at least 4 positions behind him, he is fine.
Well...
Or actually, never mind, he is fine. He has to finish within 4 positions of Schertz. So actually, he is well fine at the current position.
So So Schertz goes from being on the bubble to basically pushed out of the playoffs, and he is going to almost need a race victory in order to get in. And that's how quick it happens here. And certainly if for example, Cody Reeder takes victory here, that's going to for sure eliminate Schertz.
Yeah, the only thing that Schertz needs is to finish 4 or 5 positions ahead of Cody Reeder. And right now, that's looking like a tall task. As long as Reeder just runs a nice, clean race the rest of this thing, he is in the playoffs. But we go up front now. He has caught Briscoe. He is there.
Well, he was there a few laps ago. He kind of drifted back a little bit, so we're going to see whether or not he's ready to make that move now. Briscoe wasn't ready to concede. Obviously, I think it's also allowed Blade Timmons to catch up a little bit as well. And Eric Sable is not that far back. Honestly, Sable's about to have to deal with Brian Jones back here as well. So a number of these battles happening throughout the field. And right now, Brian Jones all over the back of Eric Sable.
Yeah, and that's because right now, as it stands, Brian Jones and Josh Conover are tied for the regular season championship currently at where they sit. If Josh Conover passes Brian Jones, he will win the regular season championship. But currently, Brian Jones holds the tiebreaker, and he would win theoretically if they finish like this.
So much to play for in the last 53 laps of this race here at Richmond Raceway. We're coming down to the closing stages of round number 16, the regular season finale for the NORA Truck Series. This has been a great race so far, and I have a feeling the best is yet to come as we continue to watch multiple races happening on the track and multiple battles happening for the points.
Oh, look up front here. Blade Timmons, he's caught Reeder now.
That's what I was saying. I was noticing that Timmons was closing a bit as these two are playing cat and mouse at the front. Timmons has said, I'll catch both of you. And perhaps we're going to see Timmons make that move.
Now, if we look at their current lap times, they're about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds off the fastest laps. So will we see someone make a green flag stop knowing that the tires are so important to try to run through this field? It is a possibility. I don't know if we'll see anybody risk it, but it is a possibility. As we do see, I think, a couple cars in pit road. A couple trucks.
We've got Brian Jones coming down into the pits.
He must be listening to the broadcast. It's a possibility for these guys if they're able to run up through the field if the others stay out. But I think everybody is going to come in to the pits, and you're going to see a couple cars maybe try to stay out. But I don't know if that's going to be the winning strategy. I think you're going to have to pit if you're going to want to win this race.
Well, I completely agree with you. This is something that Briscoe and others are going to have to, that they're going to have to be concerned with here in the next couple of laps. It's not instant because Brian Jones was a bit further back, but you're going to have to respond. You don't want the undercut strategy to give Brian Jones the position.
Emmons into the pit here. He just gave up third position. He's now in.
This may be the key. We'll have to see how long it takes Blade Timmons on the track. Let's put the track map up there so you can follow along a little bit easier. Just look for your favorite driver's initials. But Timmons brings it in, and now Briscoe finally responds. He brings it into the pits as well.
And Briscoe pulls in. Reeder stays out. Sable also, as well as Conover. So we got to see these guys in the pits within the next few laps, where they're going to lose a significant amount of time out there on track.
Reeder keeping it out there, keeping it running under the lights. The one thing that could happen here that would be very, very interesting is if a yellow were to come out.
Oh man, don't jinx it. That would shake this thing up completely.
That would be some craziness personified, as it would trap a couple of drivers a lap down at the moment. That would be Blade Timmons, Brian Jones, Torrin Schertz.
Look at how
Sean
much
Briscoe.
tires matter.
Yeah.
My goodness. Vladelich drove around Cody Reeder like he was sitting still. These tires mean everything.
Well, that's why, I mean, certainly Reeder is taking a gamble that he might trap everybody a lap down, but at the moment what's happening as Eric Sable and Josh Conover now make their pit stops is he's giving up lap times out there. As you pointed out, all these drivers that have just taken tires, they're going to go sailing on by here in just a moment. Brad Fulham also not taking tires yet. Cody Height, Christopher Heights, these drivers staying out there not having taken tires, and they are really gambling right now because they are losing all kinds of track position by not responding, not getting into the pits to take on those tires. For example, Sean Briscoe, his first lap out there, 22.65. Cody Reeder, 23.55 that last time. So almost an entire second a lap faster. And right now, I'd have to say, if the gamble doesn't pay off, which it's about to not pay off here very shortly, because Blade Timmons is only 6, let's see, gap 25 seconds back at the moment, so just about to get unlapped. Oh! And Reeder almost loses it. Well, that's certainly going to cost him because
have to pit.
This is it. I mean, you can see Timmons was coming to unlap himself.
Here it comes.
This was about to really kill the strategy anyway, so now we're going to see where Reeder cycles back out, but this is about destroyed his opportunity to win this race. And
real quick, it almost destroyed his chances at the playoffs too, because Schertz, once this thing cycles out, he will be the 6th place car. So he will be ahead of Reeder after this pit cycle.
well, again with the stage points, I'm not sure how it's all going to work out, but keep an eye as Cody Reeder is now moving on pit lane once again. Cody Height in the lead at the moment for Hollinger Racing, but he's yet to make his pit stop. He was last in on 141. Christopher Heights currently shown in 2nd place. He was last shown in on 142. Blade Timmons is going to take over the lead of this race when those other two make their pit stops, and he's going to be in the lead by a large margin. I knew this was going to cost Sean Briscoe by staying out there those extra couple of laps. Brian Jones is now ahead of Sean Briscoe on the track.
Yeah, and someone you don't see in the top 10 anymore, Josh Conover. He waited a long time to come into pit road and then had a mistake in pit road. So now he has to move the whole way up to, I believe it would be 3rd place in order to have a shot at this regular season championship, because he has to finish in front of Brian Jones, and he is well behind him.
And as you can see, Cody Reeder coming back out into 11th place. We watch the leader, Cody Height, at the moment. Continues to drive around. He's got some damage to the right side of that machine, but at least gets credit for leading a couple of laps here in this regular season finale. And representing Hollinger Racing, getting in some owner's points, but he is the last one yet to bring it down onto pit lane, and then it will be Timmons' turn. But I tell you what, Timmons is closing the gap so fast that he may not need Cody Height to pull down onto pit lane. He's only about 2.6 seconds back, and he's closing that gap right now.
Yeah, Brian Jones has just moved around Christopher Height. Christopher Height has not pit yet, so he's another one that's out on that opposite strategy, just hoping for a caution at this point. As now he moves to 5th place as well, as now Briscoe moves around him. And Briscoe catching Brian Jones very quickly so far this run, because he does have a couple lap fresher tires because Brian Jones pit before him.
That is true, and obviously that's part of the story. However, the fact remains that with that undercut strategy, Brian Jones and Blade Timmons, but most importantly, Brian Jones, able to hold the track position in front of Sean Briscoe. And you know, the real strategy here for Jones is to simply make that truck as wide as possible and not give Briscoe a chance to make this pass. Finally, Timmons has managed to pass Height on those fresher tires. Height, sooner or later, going to pull it into pit lane, but here comes Brian Jones, and just behind, there's Sean Briscoe. So Briscoe, we know, is not going to win this regular season championship unless calamity befalls Brian Jones. But we have seen Brian Jones struggle already in this race. He got sideways. He had all kinds of problems. Is it possible that he's going to have the same sort of issues as we get towards the end of this race? Or is he going to be able to stay at the front end and take the regular season championship? That is the good question at the moment. Here's Blake Timmons now working on the low side on Tim Harper, putting him officially a lap down at this moment. So Harper now in 18th place. What were you saying about where he needed to finish?
If Torn Shirts won, he would have to finish in the top 16th. But right now, he could finish 20th and still be fine as long as Shirts does not win.
Well, Shirts currently shown in 7th place and probably on pace alone, not a danger to take a victory. But as we saw Jacob Gladelich take his victory earlier this season, sometimes just being in the right place at the right time at the end of one of these is all you need. Here's
Briscoe got around Jones.
Unbelievable. Briscoe just a moment ago getting by Brian Jones. Here was the pass as we were actually, I believe that's not the right pass. Let's make sure that we get the right one on the screen. Here we go. That's Briscoe as they were working around Tim Harper. He uses the opportunity as they make their way around the lap car, and that's when Briscoe struck. He'll take that position and be on his way to try to chase down Timmons once again.
Oh, he's there. He caught him.
I think he wants that W, but now he's going to have to go through Timmons to get that W, and he's trying to catch him in a hurry. Just 26 laps remain here. It's going to be over in a blink of an eye as we're getting very close to wrapping up this regular season here at Richmond.
Oh, caution is out.
Caution for Mark
my
Bremkamp.
goodness.
Bremkamp now falling down through the order. He was in the top 10. He was having a spectacular race here in the finale, and this is going to reset everything. You know who this really helps in this regular season battle?
That'd be Josh Conover.
Absolutely. That is going to absolutely give him a chance. Now, if you're Josh, any chance if you've got a brand new set of tires, it's worth coming into the pits to get fresh
Absolutely.
tires? Here comes Timmons in. Everybody's coming in. They can't gamble and let him take on fresh tires.
Yeah, you have to have fresh tires. There is no doubt in my mind that everybody on the lead lap will come into the pits and get 4 fresh tires. Now, from here on out, if there's another caution within 5 to go, if you got one sitting around, do you want to put them on? Is 20 lap fresher tires worth it? Oh, man. I tell you what, the trends of the weekend have been cautions breeding cautions, so that's a possibility here tonight. With so many people in desperate situations, we could see more cautions here. That has been a trend for the weekend so far.
And Briscoe just got out in front of Brian Jones there, coming to the pit exit. So we're going to take a momentary break here. Still so much to play for at the end of this one. We're going to be back with, hopefully, a 20-lap shootout to the end. Stay tuned here on VirtualRacing.Network. Welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You've been seeing one heck of a battle thus far through the first 200 and almost 30 laps at Richmond Raceway in the finale of the NORA Truck Series. And no, you're not seeing things. This is only the second incident caution of the night. Will we see more? It's possible. There's a lot to play for here at the end, but Blade Timmons is going to bring us back to the green flag. 20-lap shootout to the end coming up next. They race into turn number 1. Timmons fine by himself, but now they're racing hard just behind Briscoe and Jones side by side. And now Jones drifting back. That's Eric Sable who's managed to get alongside. Is he going to take that position? We watch to find out.
Another battle we see on back. Schertz is ahead of Reeder right now, so Schertz trying to get as many positions and keep Reeder back as far as he can to try to get into the playoffs here. He's going to sail it by Josh Conover here. But Conover in a battle with Brian Jones, so he needs to push it as hard as possible here.
He is pushing as hard as he can, and right now, it's perfect time to say it's 20 to go. And of course, the 20 to go segment is brought to you by Snyder Graphics, facebook.com/Snyder Graphics. He's got a lot of cool paint jobs in the field, and you'll be seeing him on Monday and Tuesday nights out here. But if you need a livery for your truck, your NASCAR Next Gen machine, or just about any other iRacing car or truck, make sure to head over to facebook.com/Snyder Graphics, where you can get it designed for practically nothing.
Contact between Torn Schertz and Cody Height there. Schertz saved it, but oh my goodness. Cody Reeder, he's right behind Torn Schertz, and that is for the playoff position. You got to wonder, I know Schertz, right now he isn't in, but if he makes that truck 3 lanes wide, he can give Reeder a hard time the rest of this run here.
Well, speaking of which, up in front, I don't know whether Brian Jones knows that he doesn't need to pass Sean Briscoe to take the regular season championship, but he knows that he needs to stay in front of Josh Conover. Now, Josh Conover is back in 6th place at the moment, and this battle is still going on here between Jones and Sable. But looking a little bit further back, here's Conover. He's now chasing once again Jacob Malone for that position, and as we figured out, Malone recently vacating the JRC Sim team. He's going to try to make that truck as wide as possible as well. Try and keep Conover from getting forward and taking that regular season championship. So Blade Timmons out in front. Are we going to see a new winner here tonight? Owner of Blade Timmons Racing, driver of the number 1 Ford. He would love to take victory here tonight, but so would Sean Briscoe. He led a lot of laps here at Richmond. Has he got anything in the tank for that Capital Motor Club machine, or is it going to have to settle for runner-up yet again in another NORA Truck Series race? It's been far too common for Sean Briscoe to not be able to close the deal and take the win, but tonight may be one of those nights. We'll have to watch on and see whether or not Briscoe can get up there and challenge Timmons for the race win.
Sorry to interrupt. Josh Conover has made it around Malone. He is only 2 positions back from Brian Jones now in that regular season championship battle.
This was Conover getting by on the outside. Eventually clearing Malone's truck there. And we had a moment there for Christopher Heights as we now reach 10 laps to go. This was just a moment ago for Christopher Heights on track. It right down through the grass, a la Brian Jones earlier in the race.
He got some air there.
We'll have to clear out the underside on that truck when this one's all over, but he manages to correct it, and the green cloth stays in the air. Now under 10 laps remaining here at Richmond Raceway in this regular season finale. Still close battling going on as Cody Hyde in torn shirts now racing out for that 7th position. Shirts trying to do everything he can, and right now Shirts is in front of Cody Reeder, and this is going to keep him, I mean, with the bonus points, I don't know if this does keep Shirts in the playoffs.
No, as it sits right now, as long as Cody Reeder stays within 2 positions or 3 positions of torn shirts, he is still going to make it into the playoffs, and torn shirts will be eliminated.
So Shirts has got to get by Cody Hyde at the moment, and certainly he can't let Cody Reeder get around him. That would be devastating for his playoff chances.
Well, Reeder knows what to do right now. He knows that he is locked in as long as he stays right there behind torn shirts. So there is no way that Cody Reeder is going to go up there and pass him, knowing that torn shirts' only chance at making it in is by moving Cody Reeder. So he's not going to give him that opportunity. He is going to just tuck in behind torn shirts for the rest of this race and not even try to get around him.
Well, and Shirts better than me. Is he someone who might go up and give a little fender action to Cody Hyde, try and move him out of the way so that he can get by?
I don't know his personality, but I know I would wreck my own grandmother for a position in the playoffs. So
Grandma may not give you that spaghetti anymore if you go up there and do that. But yeah, I hear you. If you're a racer, you got to go for it. And this is go time for torn shirts. He's got to put a couple of trucks between him and Cody Reeder. And right now, it's looking like Cody Reeder might be close enough to make a move on torn shirts, and that would be pretty much game over.
Oh, he ain't making that move. There ain't no way. We got another battle here between Conover and Jones. He's kind of close, but not close enough. He's going to have to try something here with 3 to go. Conover, if he gets by Eric Sable, it'll be a tie.
We'll have to get final confirmation, but as it is right now, I don't think need it, but we will wait for everything to go official before announcing anything. Just 2 laps to go. This next time, we're going to see the white flag in the air. That's all Blade Timmons needs to take victory here in the finale for season number 2023.
Conover's by Sable.
White flag in the air. Conover makes the pass on Sable. So will that mean that he gets the regular season championship away from Brian Jones? Is it that close? Right now. They are tied for the championship, which would then go to the most wins, and we'll have to calculate it all for you later, but Blade Timmons takes your victory here in the finale of the regular season for the NORA Truck Series 2023. Second place to Sean Briscoe. Third goes to a very hard-fought Brian Jones, who tried to take everything he could and try to secure himself that championship, but it's very possibly Josh Conover who finds himself in that championship, regular season championship crown at the end of this one. In the meantime, Blade Timmons celebrating on track like he has not all season. Congratulations to him taking victory. We're going to take a momentary break as he celebrates on track. We'll be right back with the final results and a chance to chat with our top 3 finishers here at Richmond Raceway. Stay tuned. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network, the official home of the NORA Truck Series 2023, and of course, the NORA Cup Series 2023, as well as the Icon Cup Series. Very first inaugural season. If you're not already subscribed to VirtualRacing.Network, we'd sure love it if you join the family. Get subscribed, and you'll know about all of our upcoming races. Make sure to also hit that like button, and we'll get this race shared and so many more shared with those in the iRacing community so they know about how great the NORA Truck Series is. Congratulations to Blade Timmons, who takes his very first victory of the season. He does it by a small margin, and it was so exciting to watch here at Richmond Raceway. Sean Briscoe gonna have to settle for second place. I think he was as set to possibly take that victory as he has ever been here in VirtualRacing.Network coverage. But unfortunately, he just couldn't manage to do it here tonight. Third place going to Brian Jones for Brian Powell Motorsports. And was it good enough to take the championship? I don't know. He was tied with Josh Conover. They're going to have to go to secondary qualifications to figure out who. I think it goes to race wins afterwards. So we're going to have to make sure that we get it right when we announce who wins. But Conover finishing fourth and doing everything he can to put himself in position to take that regular season championship crown. Eric Sable in fifth place. Sixth place going to Jacob Malone. Seventh to Cody Height. Eighth, Torin Schertz. Ninth to Cody Reeder. What an amazing race from Cody Reeder. Did he do enough to get himself into the playoffs? I believe that he did. We'll wait for final notification on that as well. Mark Bremkamp, he rounds out the top 10 here tonight. Everett Krautz finishing just outside the top 10 in 11th. Brad Fulham in 12th. Todd Slauson in 13th. Craig Schroeder in 14th. Jacob Gladelich 15th. Ian Clark in 16th. Timothy Harper in 17th, doing just barely enough to squeak in to the playoffs, I believe. Christopher Heights in 11th place, or in 18th place. 19th going to Jordan Abeta. 20th, Nick Geilis. 21st to Martin Plude, and 22nd for Mark Morton, both of whom did not start tonight's race. So with that, we have a chance to chat with our top three, and I believe the first one up on that docket will be Brian Jones. Let's see if we can catch up with Brian Jones here in the booth post-race. And hey, Brian, that was an amazing race. We don't have clarification yet on who takes the regular season championship, but of course you already know that you've got your ticket punched into the playoffs. Talk us through your night. I mean, it was up and down. You were at the front, and then kind of disaster struck. You tried to make a pass on Blade Timmons and were stuck on the inside. Things got loose, and you were out there mowing grass.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what kind of night it was. It all depends on what the tiebreaker is. It could go from a good night to a terrible night. I don't know. I just threw it away there on lap 41, or whatever it was, 46. It got loose on me, and I didn't want to, take out Blade, so I kind of turned left on it, and it got real loose. I thought it'd bring out a caution, didn't. So I guess Josh went +7 on the points, and that was a big gap. But I was able to kind of fight back in stage 2. He's only +2 on me there, so that was, I don't know, +9. And I guess I'm +8 on him before coming into the race, so I think we tied on points, so I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I know there are a lot of people who are crunching those numbers behind the scenes, including yourself. I'm so glad that all you guys are so good with that quick math, but I'll wait for you number crunchers to come up with the exact number before we announce it here. But either way, you got to feel good. I mean, from the standpoint that, once again, you fought from the back. You were out. You were like in 10th place at one point. You had to fight your way forward. You were even further back at another point. You had to fight your way forward. You passed a lot of trucks on the way, and certainly to bring it back into third place, It's got to make you at least feel good going into the playoffs that you've got a truck that's hard to beat, and you got a great chance at taking this overall NORA Truck Series crown, even if you don't get the regular series championship.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we do this whole thing really just to get to Phoenix. Every race is just about getting to Phoenix. And then once you get there, anything can happen. We've seen it. I don't know, I've won 2 championships, I guess, just because things happen. You know, people get wrecked, people get damaged, and you wind up in a good situation or a really bad situation once you get there. But the only money to be made is that last race of the season, so this is all just kind of practice for it.
Got to get there and be in contention to win it. And of course, while you did get sideways, you didn't put that truck into the wall, which would have certainly taken you out of that regular season championship. How shocking was it tonight how clean this race stayed?
To be honest, not that shocking. I didn't think that we were going to be pack racing around here like we have in years previous, just because of the extreme level of tire fall off, how loose the car got. Yeah, I really thought it was going to be single file a lot of the ways. It's going to be really hard to pass and really loose off the corners, and it was just like that. Yeah, and we had kind of a small field tonight, so that kind of helped too.
Well, either way, you managed to get that third place and round out the podium. Who'd you like to thank for your run back to third tonight?
Oh, got to thank Cars and Bids. If you're looking for a car from the 80s, 90s, 2000s and up, go to carsandbiz.com and see what you can find. Also want to thank Racing with Rich Energy. If you care about the Haas F1 team and Formula One history, go to richenergybook.com and get yourself a copy today.
Sounds like a plan on both of those accounts, and always great speaking with you here, Brian, and great job to recover, and we'll look forward to a great playoffs with you as well. Congratulations, no matter where you finish up. We're still waiting on final word, but no matter what, it was a heck of a season, and you led the points through pretty much every single round of it. It's a lot to be proud of.
Thanks, Trevor. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Y'all do a great job. It's a lot of fun to watch, man.
Thank you so much. So that is Brian Jones. He takes third here tonight. We're still waiting on official word. I think Christian will fill us in as soon as he knows.
I do. I have found out. I wanted to remove Brian Jones there for this one because he's not going to be happy. Josh Conover is the regular season champion. My goodness.
That is absolutely shocking to find out, as once again, Brian Jones...
You gotta hear this. My goodness, how this was decided. Okay, so they were tied points-wise. The tiebreaker goes to then wins. If we look at those two drivers' wins, they both have 2 wins. So then it had to go to the second place finishes throughout the season, which both of them had the same amount of second place finishes with 2. Whenever we go to the third place finishes, which is the 4th tiebreaker, Josh has 4, and he only had his first third place finish, Brian Jones, tonight.
That is shocking, and I mean, Christian, you know, now look, we preach consistency in the results, and if that doesn't prove it, the top 5s and certainly third places, podium positions, you know, if you can't get top 2, get third. Tonight that proves it. Of course, it's not for all the marbles of the whole season, but that regular season, and Josh Conover did not lead most of those weeks of the regular season in the points, and for him to take the regular season crown here tonight, and perhaps we'll get a chance to talk with our regular season victor before we go much further into the broadcast here. But why don't we go ahead and bring in our remaining 2 finishers, and we'll get a chance to chat with them. We'll bring in Sean Briscoe. Sean, we just talked with Brian Jones, and in between Brian Jones and yourself, we had to bear the incredible news that I'm sure you've just heard yourself, that it in fact is Josh Conover, who takes the regular season championship, and I know you were in that fight. I know that you were looking forward to possibly taking the win here, and if things had played out, maybe you could have gotten the regular season championship. How does it feel to you, even though you know that you're going to be in the playoffs, how does it feel to actually not take the victory here, take second place, and probably take third place in the championship?
Hey, truth, kind of gutting. We ran a real good race. If that caution didn't come out there, I was just about to get by Blade, with like 30 or 40 to go. That caution came out, so. But all in all, I mean, it was a good race. I don't know if I had anything to win the regular season championship, but I was closer than I thought. I thought that was just checking points today before the race, but Brian did miss a race, so if he would have raced, it probably wouldn't have been that close. But yeah, it's a good deal for oh man, I'm drawing a blank. It's so hot in this garage right here.
Well, Josh Conover wins that championship, but of course Blade Timmons taking his first victory here tonight. And again, you know, the season's not over. Of course, we'll look forward to seeing you in the W column before this season is officially done and dusted. And there's still the big points to play for at the end of this one. How do you refocus after the end of such a hard-fought regular season, and now you're staring down the barrel of the real points that matter here at the end of the season?
You just got to win. That's about the easiest way to kind of keep moving forward in the knockoffs or whatever the heck they call it. So hopefully today is kind of signs of how I'm going to run in the championship, or at least in the final 10 races. So I'm pretty pumped. I'm ready for the next race already. So yeah, let's get it.
Well, I think it's a pretty good bet. Put your money on the number 39 to potentially take that victory in the regular season championship. Of course, these playoffs, different kinds of tracks than we've been seeing. We start off with Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park coming up. Short tracks seems to be a thing that you like to do out there. Let me ask you a question. You go to In-N-Out, what are you ordering?
Number 1 with a large Coke. That's it. No animal style or anything like that, but yeah, definitely number 1.
Well, there you go. I've been dying to know the answer to that question, and certainly we'll look forward to all of your paint schemes coming forward here in the playoffs. You know, before we send you away, who would you like to thank for your run to second here tonight?
Corey, Josh. Corey and Josh. Yeah, okay. Corey and Josh. I'll get them. Craig, my dad, for helping me out. I got kind of low on money here, so he re-upped my subscription. So thank you, Dad. Well, yeah, Josh for putting all this on. You guys for doing the interview and the commentating, and man, I'm ready for the next 10 races now.
To get that close to tasting victory tonight, we'll let you get off and go taste your number 1 with fries. But we appreciate your candidacy here on VirtualRacing.Network. And Sean, we'll look forward to seeing you in W in the victory column here really soon.
Alrighty, glad to have that interview one of these days.
I bet you will, my friend. So that is Sean Briscoe, the Capital Motor Club. He was that close to victory, the first one of the season, and it's just I can't even believe it, Christian. It's like, how many times is this guy gonna be that close? It's been just remarkable. He hasn't taken.
He's been the bridesmaid a couple times.
Well, let's go ahead, and I believe that you caught up with our race winner, Blade Timmons. And
yeah,
in
I think he's done celebrating. I don't know if he's done drinking champagne or not. But Blade, you win tonight. This is your first win of the season. How does it feel being in victory lane here at Richmond?
Oh man, it's awesome. You know, that's the track, probably one of the tracks other than Martinsville that I forward to coming to every season. So, strategy paid off tonight.
Yeah, I was looking back, and I don't recall you winning in NORA in the past. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is your first win in the league in general, is it not?
No, I think it's number 4 or number 5.
Oh, number 4 or 5? Okay, well, either way, man, an amazing run tonight. You kind of used strategy to get out in the lead. Did the truck feel good tonight? Was it loose at all? We saw some drivers getting around, so how was the truck handling?
I knew I had a top 3 car or truck for sure, so I just couldn't, being in the dirty air, it's hard in that last stint. I ranked Reader and Sean down, and I was like, well, let me try to get in pits first and see if this will work out for me. So I dropped in, put about 3 gallons in, 2 tires. 2 tires was probably a bad call, but I had to make that decision, and the left side being mid 90s, low 90s with fresh rights, I was pretty free. And then I seen Brian coming, and then Sean coming, and that caution saved.
Yeah, you caught a lucky break there with the caution, but I mean, after the green restarted you guys, you kind of were lights out the rest of the race. So a heck of a run for you tonight. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go and finish your celebration?
Well, even though I got my own truck, I appreciate Timmy for letting me drive his tonight. Josh was pretty mad at me for driving Timmy's truck, so sorry, Josh. We still love you, though. Just like to thank everybody that puts on this league and y'all up in the booth for broadcasting it, man, so we can go back and watch it and learn from our mistakes and watch good races that we do have. So, man, I appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah, we missed you last night in Icon. We saw you in chat saying that you wish you could have raced, but you come out here tonight and you show that maybe you would have won Icon if you were there. You racing in the Cup race tomorrow?
Yeah, I should be, man. I was on this weekend. With law enforcement, so I do every other weekend I'm on, so I missed on Sundays, so that's why I was out last night, but I wanted to be there for sure. But I'll be sitting in the Cup ride, probably piddling around in the back here, because I ain't too terribly good at a Cup car here.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can maybe figure it out and get a win tomorrow night, but good luck with that, and good luck the rest of the season.
All right, bud, appreciate it.
Well, Christian, that is our race winner from the night, but I see that our champion for the regular season is hanging around the victory circle. I think maybe you get a chance to chat with Mr. Josh Conover.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a hop and a step over here away from Blade Timmons, still here in Victory Lane. Josh Conover is in the championship podium here for getting the regular season championship. Now, Josh, me and you have talked all season. This has been a focus of yours to win that regular season championship, get those playoff points, and you tie for it. And it comes down to 3 or 4 tiebreakers, man, to get you this championship. Tell me what you're thinking right now.
I'm baffled. If you would have told me coming in I had any chance, I would have said you were crazy. And then just kind of put my head down and tried to get after it. It's crazy. Like if you just said it came down to like what 3 or 4 different tiebreakers down the line to finally secure it.
Yeah, you said it was like 3rd place finishes, wasn't it? It came down to that, and you had more 3rd place finishes than Brian Jones. This was actually his first 3rd place finish tonight, isn't that right?
Yep, because you had said it was wins first, which we both have 2, and then seconds, which I think Nick said we had both had 4 or something like that, and then obviously it goes to thirds, and I think tonight was my 4th, and then this was Brian's first 3rd place. So I guess if you ain't winning, I guess it pays to finish on the podium. But obviously the wins would be nice too.
Yeah, you had the most time in the booth with us in the Truck Series, so that's what got you this championship, being up here on the podium. So. Trevor said it earlier. He said consistency is everything for that regular season championship, and with you consistently finishing on the podium, that's what won it for you. So congrats, man, on winning this championship. I know it means so much to you, but I know you're more focused on the actual championship at the end of the season.
Yeah, but this is obviously still huge. I mean, I was actually just looking back throughout the season, and granted, it took him missing a race, but after Nashville, so only 4 races ago, I guess, we were almost 60 points out, and then he missed Nashville, and obviously we had, I think, almost a 50-point night, so we're going to close the gap, and it's the difference of 5 more playoff points. So I think Nick and I were talking. I think he'll still be up by 1, but it's obviously a difference. 1 is a lot better than, I think it would have been close to 10 at that point. But no, this is step 1. I think I actually won the regular season last year too. But like I said, it's just builds the gap now with the playoff points, and just gotta stay consistent. Like I said, if winning's nice, but obviously with the tiebreakers now that we know what they are, seconds and thirds, aren't the end of the world. So I don't know. This field's tough. I definitely wasn't, even quicker than Brian tonight or Eric or, any of them guys, but you got to be on your game. This is going to be an interesting playoff. We're going to, I think, 2 tracks I haven't been to, actually. I lied, just 1, Milwaukee, but I don't know. I'm hearing it's tough to pass, and so is IRP. So this first round's going to be just as big of a wild card as like Dega and Bristol, I guess.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 5th season for Trucks, and all 4 of the previous seasons, you have been in the Final 4 in the playoffs. So if you keep that streak alive, you might have a shot at the championship this season again.
It'd be nice to finally get one. I guess it's a good thing that we're 5 for 5 now on making the playoffs, but 4 for 4 in the Final 4. And funny enough, I think I was talking to maybe Kleba about it. I don't think I finished a championship race without any damage that wasn't my own doing. So I don't know. Like I said, getting there is going to be one thing. There's a lot of tough competition. Briscoe, I think he's been second probably more than Brian and I have, and I thought he was finally going to get one, and then Blade stole it from him, I guess you could say. But I don't know. It's going to take a perfect 3 races first in the first round, and then obviously the next round. But we're going to have to get 1 race at a time and just try and keep the nose clean, I guess. But it'd be nice to finally get one.
Trevor, do you have any final questions here for Josh before we let him go, as you finally make your way down here to Victory Lane 2?
Josh, it was just an amazing regular season. I think the Truck Series at various points had even more action than the Cup Series. But certainly, I don't think anybody could say that you're not odds-on favorite right there with Jones and possibly Briscoe to take this championship after all. But what do you think, my friend? What are your chances? How are you feeling about the end of the season and those tracks? You feeling like this is your championship to win?
I guess I'd be lying if I said I don't feel that way, but like I said, I know last year IRP was kind of an unknown. We hadn't run there before up until last year, and I think I might have ended up maybe top 5 or so, but obviously it was kind of 1 lane around the outside, and then I'm hearing Milwaukee's sort of kind of like New Hampshire, just as far as kind of tight race in 1 line, and then we go to Kansas, which is the complete opposite. You can run from the inside line to the outside wall, but it's going to be tough, like I said, because if you're off your game one night, you got obviously Brian Jones, you got Briscoe, you got Reeder should be in, I think unofficially he's in, but Sable, there's a bunch of guys that can sneak up and steal points from you and just capitalize on your mistakes. So it's going to take a perfect 6 races to get to the final, and even then, Phoenix is another, I guess, animal in its own right. It's just you can unload there and be quick, like I was I think last year, and you can unload and be 4th out of the championship 4. It's can't count. What is it? Can't count your chickens before they hatch, or can't count your eggs before they hatch.
Well, Josh, awesome job here in the regular season, and you won't count them before they hatch, but you better count on getting those podiums, because that seems to be the ticket to getting these championships. Congratulations on the regular championship, and we'll see where you run after the end of Phoenix, my friend.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully I can be there again. I know Chris. I'll just throw a little jab and say he got lucky in the first year. I was beating him, and I got in somebody else's mess, and he stole that title from me. But yeah, hopefully we can at least make it there first, and then kind of see where our cards lay and go from there. But like I said, it's gonna be a dogfight. This was the most I've worked all year probably for a race trying to get to Brian. I'm sitting here drenched. So
if he finished one position off, it would have been Brian's hands. You really did have to work for it. Just goes to show you all that hard work pays off. Congratulations. We'll look forward to seeing you again next race, and can't wait to see how this playoffs pulls out for yourself and for everybody. It should be very exciting.
Oh yeah, you're going to see a lot of nervous drivers out there. You think regular season racing's crazy. I know myself and Timmy and Reader, we were all counting like every lap. All right, we're running here. Where's this guy at? And it just gets worse now that we're in playoff time. It's going to be crunch time, and every point's going to matter.
Final thanks before we close this one out.
Thank you to you guys as always. Hopefully it was a good show. I know we actually had, I think, only 2 cautions besides stages, I think, which was, typically we can kind of have good races here, especially actually in the trucks, even though it is a little looser, but, not our biggest field, but, still solid. I think we had 20 take the green, I believe. So, like I said, can't complain to you guys for the broadcast, like I said, and show everybody that ran. I know, like I said, we always tend to put decent races on here, but I thought tonight was exceptional, especially, being the last race before the playoffs. I figured guys would have been a little antsy, trying to get all the points they can, but for the most part it seemed like everybody ran with their heads, and like I said, hopefully it was a good show.
It certainly was, and congratulations again, Josh. Fantastic job.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
So that is Josh Conover, the man of the hour, who takes the regular season championship here in the NORA Truck Series. And Christian, as we close this one out here, I mean, what more can be said? That was just something else to watch Josh work his way back and finally get to exactly where he needed to be. I mean, it couldn't have been any closer. Like I said, of course, he could have passed Brian and made it real easy, not have to take all those qualifiers in order to get it, but at the same time, he did exactly what he needed to do, and this was a fun championship, the regular season to watch, but it sure makes me feel good about watching the playoffs, and what more can be said about Blade Timmons taking the race victory here tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the rest of these playoffs. Josh mentioned it briefly there. I've had the pleasure of racing against Josh for a championship before, and I came out on top that first season, but he deserved it way more than I did. He was by far the favorite going into it and should have won, but like he said, he got collected in somebody else's incident, so anything can happen in these playoffs. You can see the favorites get taken out early. We've seen it before where we thought Kyle Busch in real life was going to easily walk away with a championship, and he ended up getting eliminated in the round of 12. So there's possibilities that we could see favorites drop early and somebody come out of nowhere for the finale. So anything can happen in these next, I think it's 7, maybe 8 races. Forget how many are left here. If we can pull up the schedule after this and take a look, but there's so much on the line the next few weeks. I can't wait.
This is going to be exciting indeed. Everybody can see the schedule and has been seeing them playing out on the bottom of the screen. But the best way to know that you're not going to miss any of the action here for the NORA Truck Series or the NORA Cup Series is to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You'll get notified of all the upcoming races. And of course, tomorrow night is our next one. Our triple header here at Richmond Raceway concludes. It will be the NORA Cup Series live here on VirtualRacing.Network. You won't want to miss it from Richmond Raceway. So on behalf of Christian Snyder and myself, Trevor Greenfield, and all of the competitors here in the NORA Truck Series, congratulations to Blade Timmons on his first victory of the season, and congratulations to Josh Conover taking that regular season crown. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your evening and sleep well. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.